Baseball is a simple game, yet every day we seem to make it even more and more complicated. Baseball has always been tracked by a litany of statistics that can boggle the mind when presented. And I can get behind stats like batting average and home runs, RBIs, ERA, and most importantly, wins and losses. Yet every single time, I'm fretting about a loss, and single out an individual who may have helped contribute to that loss, I get the same thing. You can't say anything bad about that player. His WAR is well above the league average. Now, A, I don't know or care what the fuck WAR is. B, Hitler's WAR was well above average, and he still got his ass kicked, so fuck off, troll. So chalk WAR down as yet another stupid stat we've added to apparently make us feel better about losing, I guess. But they don't stop there. They have damn near run out of acronyms for all the new age analytics stats they track nowadays. However, you may be shocked when you hear what I think the stupidest stat in baseball is. There's one stat that makes me cringe when I hear about it, and that stat is the save. Outrage, right? How can I think a save is stupid? Well, before you get your troll chops ready, hear me out. First, let's look on how to get a save. He enters the game with a lead of no more than 3 runs and pitches for at least 1 inning, or he enters the game regardless of the score with a potential tying run either on base, at bat, or on deck, or he pitches at least 3 innings. Okay, well that's pretty specific. Specifically stupid. But to fully understand my disdain for the save, we must first delve into the history of the pitcher position. So let's go back in time. No, not that far back. Back to a time before color was even invented. In those days, pitchers were cool. They were given names like Babe, Cy, Lefty, Dizzy. Those weren't names their mother gave them. They were names given to them because they were so cool. In fact, using that logic, it can be concluded that the big league pitcher was the equivalent to the modern day rapper, because of the fact people would actually call them by their cool name, not some stupid name they were born with. And those pitchers pitched, man. A baseball game is 9 innings long, and the pitcher was fully expecting to play 9 innings. If there was another game, they'd have a go at that one too, and then after, they would go off and be lumberjacks and shit. These were some fucking manly men. And one day, one of these guys was having a bad day. Sorry, coach, for giving up those runs. I accidentally cut off my leg lumberjacking last night, so I'm not feeling my best today. And the coach turned around. It's okay, Dizzy. I'm going to go ahead and bring Steve in off the bench to finish the game for you. And then Dizzy was like, what the fuck, coach? You take me out of this game, I can't come back in. Those are the rules. And the next thing you know, Steve was being used every single time a game was going shitty. This caused a change in the pitcher's mindset. These once mighty men were reduced to a typical human response of laziness. And it got worse and worse with every generation. Go figure, right? The next thing you know, you have pitchers like, hey coach, the game starts at 7, but I'd quite like to catch a new episode of Seinfeld at night. Is there any way Steve can come in for me later so I can watch it? And the manager began putting more and more guys in the roles of relief pitcher, to the point they needed their own area to put all these guys. And then they gave it a stupid name like the bullpen. Imagine that being your life. You show up to work, the boss picks a group of you and your co-workers and says, hey, you guys aren't the best workers, so you guys stay the fuck out of the way and go sit in the break room. We will call you when we need you. And since there were so many bullpen guys, managers began to make stupid rules about how much starting pitchers would even have to work. How sweet would that be? Hey Frank, I know you're scheduled till 5, but your work goes to shit at 2:30, so when it's that time, just go to fuck home. Sweet, right? So now, we have all these bullpen guys ready to go. Well, we better give them some stats too, right? It is baseball. So they came up with the save. So you might ask yourself then, what is my issue with the save? At least they made an effort to give these bullpen pitchers their own stupid stat like everyone else. But let's think about the save. My first issue with the save is the name. I mean, are we implying that we think the bullpen guy is going to fuck this all up? Is his success keeping the lead so unlikely that we are literally going to credit him with saving the game? I mean, what about the guy who hit the go-ahead home run? Or the guy who made the diving catch with the game on the line? I think they did a whole hell of a lot more to save the game than the guy coming in and just keeping a lead. I mean, isn't the relief pitcher's only job to pitch for a short period of time and try not to give any runs? I mean, that's like a firefighter saving a kid from a burning building, and then everyone rushes over to the paramedic who looked the kid over and credits him with saving the kid. Even though the firefighter did such a good job, the kid wasn't even hurt. That's some bullshit. So fuck the save already, right? Just having a stupid name isn't enough to make the save my least favorite stat. Think about this. With all these stats that fly around baseball, the save is the only statistic that I can think of that literally dictates if and when a particular player is even used. Instead of using all of our other useful stats like which fucking batters do well against your fucking pitchers, teams designate one guy to be the guy to come in when the game is on the line and shit is getting real. We call him the closer, and we use him only at the end of the game if we are winning and the game falls within the parameters of this fucked up stat. We didn't stop there now. We also now have to have a designated setup man as well. Again, that we only use when the same barely winning situation. We made a stupid stat for him too. We call that a hold. However, that is one of the few stats that literally nobody gives a fuck about. So in theory, baseball people generally can't wait to bust out crazy obscure statistics during every plausible situation of the game, except for the most fucking crucial part of the game. And since we have the ERA stat, we can just track how many runs a pitcher gives up during a 9-inning stretch. And since even the best of these relief pitchers have ERAs around 2, we can determine that 2 out of every 9 innings he pitches, he fucks up. And if I break that down in the BrownsMemes Statistic Lab, that means that if I am using that same pitcher at the end of every close game we are winning, it is statistically impossible to have that inning go smoothly all of the time. Eventually, we will go to the well too many times, and that guy will fuck us straight out of a win. Where in my estimation, if we were to take a chance to look up what my ideal matchups for each inning might be, and what relief pitcher to use, albeit unlikely, I at least give myself a chance to never fuck up a 9th inning lead, and at bare minimum increase my chances not to get fucked out of a game in the last inning. But what the fuck do I know, right? But the strangest thing about the save is despite, no matter how much I fucking hate it, it actually spawned my favorite stat of all time, the blown save. And why is the blown save my favorite stat of all time, you might ask? Well, because when it's included on the stat line, it says BS. And ain't that some bullshit? Sincerely, BrownsMemes Guy.